Hey everyone, this is Andrea, and today we're starting a series called Product Design Mock Interview. So, the idea is that we will be interviewing some amazing designers so you guys can get a sense of how does a product design interview looks like and what are the main challenges there. And also, at the end of it, I'll be providing some feedback to the designer, like some of the things that I noticed that the person could improve and then the person did great. So if you are going through a job process right now, or if you're looking to get a job as a product designer, or if you know someone that needs help with solving design exercises, I think this will be a great video for you to share with that person. So make sure you comment, and also leave your comments below of like how helpful this was to you and yeah, everything. So have fun.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrea. I'm Hanry Kluk. I'm a designer. I'm from Brazil. I've been doing design for more than 12 years now. And in the beginning of my career, I worked as a visual designer. After that, I opened my own agency of mobile apps. And then I got passionate about product design. So I decided to switch from projects to starting working on products. And since then, I've been working in many industries such as healthcare, fintech, especially in now learning. And over the last 2 years, I've been managing a UX team inside of my current company. I'm also enjoy doing mentorships and improve the design community, giving classes and workshops and talks. And yeah, this is pretty much it.
Awesome. So the way that we're going to do this today is we're going to take 45 minutes to do the mock interview.
Yeah.
So I'm going to count that here.
Yes, I'm ready. Let's get going.
Okay. So the challenge that we have today is I would like you to rethink the remote control experience.
This is the prompt. Let me just make sure I understand. I'm gonna write down here some of the steps and also some bullet points for me to stick it to the objective. Okay.
Okay.
Prompt. Redesign remote control experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Sounds great challenge. Okay. Let me think. Can you give me more like clarifying this? Like, why is it important? Why redesign the remote control experience is important?
Sure. So imagine that we work at a company and we can work at Samsung, let's say, right? So we have all the budget in the world for this project. And the reason why we want to rethink the remote control experience is because we think there's too many buttons in there. There are remote controls with different shapes, different sizes. So we just want to provide a better UX for our customers. We think this can be a great project. So there's not a particular goal here, but if we can stretch this concept, that would be great. So let's see what you can do for us here.
Perfect. Nice. Okay, so we're open to so we have all the budgets in the world. For now, as you mentioned that we have many buttons, right? Okay, that's cool. Okay, do you have any like specific problems on the existing product more than just too many buttons? Do you experience any problems on the like you would like to
No, we don't have
No?
many data on this. What we did was we had a benchmark. We saw that most of the remote controls out there, they have too many buttons. It looks too clustered, but we don't have any data. We haven't done much research on that. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Enough. Perfect. Great. Okay, let me think. How can we move forward on this? I would like to explore some use case here. Okay. And then you can also help me to understand if they are feasible, if they are valid, or even like add some of the use case.
Sure.
Let me think. Okay, use case for a controller. I feel that like as an old person could, like as you mentioned, there's too many buttons, provide better UX. I would imagine how daunting could be like the experience of interacting with a remote control if you're an old person. So I would say an old person uh, try to uh, find a program, get frustrated because there's cannot like handle or cannot understand much of the interface of the controller, get frustrated, ask for help. I remember many times my grandma asking me for to help her with the controller because she couldn't like see in the details, so she asked for help. And then finally, she finds finds the content. Okay. Another assumption here would be kids using controller to watch like cartoons. Cartoons. Kids are also like put controllers on the mouth. We use controllers in a different way, like throw the controller away. So it also could be interesting to think about other possibilities on like kind of materials that we could use for this controller to not harm any kids. Now throw the controller, throw controller. Also depends on the kid could also have problems of like motor ability because their hands are too small. If we have a big controller, it could be problematic for them. Also thinking about another use case, there's like person that has like many high-end products like sound, super advanced sound system or a big nice TV or like a Blu-ray player, and then they might have like many other different controllers. And it could be daunting as well because you could lose your controller, or you could like, I don't know, lose one of them and then you lose the functions. So I'd say like also high-end users have too many controllers. Have to switch like in between the source, like in between HDMI or your video game. So have to switch many times the source. Also use more than one controller. Okay. Okay, so I have this like old person trying to find the program, needs to find some assistance. I also have kids using this to watch like cartoons, throw the controller, play with the controller. Sometimes has the difficulty to tap all the buttons. And high-end user that use more than one controller. Do you think there is like a valid use case? Would you like to add something else?
No, I think that's good for now.
Yeah. Okay. So I have here the prompt. I have the why we are trying to redesign this. I have some use case. Okay. So I'm gonna drill down in one of the use case, thinking about who is the most impacted audience for this. I would say kids, they don't have like power of buying. So they, of course, they influence on buying, but I would feel that this control could be more useful. This redesign could be more useful for high-end users or also old person because they might use this controller more often also than kids and high-end users. So I will focus here my solution, my audience for this solution for old people. Okay. This old people is very broad, so I would like also to think old people that are retired. We have some different kind of usage. They use more They use even more the controller. Some of them, they don't even have like TV. So we have like the retired user use a lot TV. Also live by themselves. Nowadays, they cannot ask, sometimes they cannot even ask for help for like other person to help them, because nowadays more retired people, more old people, they don't live more with their families. So, okay, I think, and then there's also the occasional user. The occasional user use like normally watching just the simple news, common local news. And yeah, I think we have two like frames of this audience, like more person that use more this product and also occasionally this product.
So which one would you go ahead with?
I will go ahead with the retired, because this person tends to use even more the product, and I think they're the most affected, because they don't have someone to help them with this kind of device, so could be a very problematic experience for them using this while they don't have like support. Is it okay for you? Can we move forward?
Yeah.
Are you following? Great. So, okay, so let's say that we have this retired audience. We have some retired people. Let's make some assumptions here about them. Let me think about some behaviors. Sometimes have like a small community of friends. I'm gonna make some assumptions here, okay? Mm-hmm. So if you feel free to just jump in and feel if you need more clarify about this topic, or okay, if we can drill down on this. Some of the behavior have a small community. Do some like don't ask, live alone with live by like alone or the partners. Don't have much support. To use the device. Are not tech savvy at all, because they grew up in a different generation, so not tech savvy. They're not used to use any like mostly digital interface device, so it's quite difficult as well for them to interact with this device. Some of the needs of them I would like to point it out is like they also could have like eyesight issues. Which could be a problem for them to identify the controller in their hands and also like to see the screen. Eyesight issues, motoral ability on the hands could be like not much. It's not so accurate. It's not so good as like more younger generation. So they could have like motor ability. One of the behaviors I would like also to point that they watch from the couch. So they're using this product on the couch, and they spend good amount of time at home. Okay, some that needs like eyesight issues, motor ability. Let me think another need. Okay, I'll think about more. I think we have more needs here, but I also would like to explore some of the goals. So goals need to find the right program, the right program to watch. If they have eyesight problems, or even like sometimes could have problems of memory, they could like lose the sight of the controller and not find it again. So need to find the proper device. Need to find the device. Find the device, interact with the controller.
Just a quick reminder, we are 15 minutes in, so.
Great, yeah. Okay, so one of the needs here is like the behaviors. They have like small community of friends. Mostly they live alone or sometimes with their partners, but they are also old. They don't have much support to use, so they don't have people to ask. They're not tech savvy. They spend a lot of time at home. Some of the needs that I found here is like they could have potentially eyesight issues, motor ability issues. Do you have anything in mind as well that we could also add here for the needs?
No, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and think about some opportunities.
Great. Okay. So okay, and then the goals, they need to find the right program, need to find the device as well. Some of the opportunities that we have here. So I think a great opportunity connected with the redesign objective of this is provide a specific device that can help them with their motor ability. So provide device easy to use with not that they don't need to use many like tap inputs. Also, maybe find a controller that we can input information with a different kind of source, like voice or a different gesture. And also provide a device that help them to interact in a different way with the UI, because the UI sometimes is like too far, they cannot see, or if they have eyesight issues, they cannot like sometimes see the controller from they're close to them or like too far the interface. So something that can help them with the distance of the two device, the interaction with the UI and between the device that help with the far. Okay, so we have two opportunities here. Provide a device that is mostly easy to use, that they don't need much inputs that depends on the touch, and also provide a device that help them with that they could interact easily with the interface without looking too far or without looking too close to them. I think this is a great way for us to provide a better experience for this public. So, given this opportunities, I would like to move forward of the ideas. Is it fine? Can we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm thinking about gestures. Something that comes to my mind would be a controller that you don't need to. You always put in a specific place, and the controller recognize your gesture, motor sense. So could be like a kind of a controller that kind of a Kinect that you put it over your TV and recognize you like from your distance, and you can move the cursor with hands or a different gesture. So that would be a kind of a Kinect controller. Is it clear for you?
Yeah. Since we are jumping into the like 20 minutes already, if you could just like sketch out a few opportunities, a few solutions, so we can have more like a visual sense of what your idea could be, that would be great. But take your time, follow your process. I'm just saying it would be good to have some like visual indications as well.
Great. So Kinect controller, I'm thinking about also a controller that they could manage by their hands. They don't need to look much for the interface of the TV, so they could like have the interface of the TV on their hands. So it could be kind of like a mix of smartphone or tablet with a controller. So tablet controller. This could be also beneficial for the high-end user because they could also need different devices for this controller because it's a fluid. There's an interface inside of this controller. Also, a controller that help with voice input. Okay, so we have 3 ideas. One of them is like more using gestures. Another one is using like the controller interface inside of the controller, and another one is a controller which help them to interact with your interface with voice input. Okay, I thinking about which idea could be more feasible here. I think the controller with voice input is easier because many of the interface, many of the even the TV OS like operational systems, we already have the support for voice inputs. The other controllers, the tablets could also be expensive. High-end users could like have benefit more for this than old people. And this Kinect controller, they even could have problems to get used to the gestures, and also because they're not used to deal with any kind of like video game or Kinect from our generation. Is it okay for you if I move with the controller with voice input?
Yeah, sure.
Great. Okay. Nice. So we have this voice input controller. This voice input controller, I'm thinking about the onboarding experience here. So you just receive the controller on the. I'm gonna just write down some tasks. The onboarding, you just receive the controller and you have to connect the controller with the TV, then you connect with TV. Then you talk with the controller, like any kind of like function, such as I want to watch culinary program, TV show. Then I have some results, search results. Like giving those results, then I can select their desired program. And after that, they start watching. Great. So I have some tasks here, and I'm gonna start drawing based on this task that I have. I drew down the main tasks. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So given those tasks first, then you receive the controller. I don't know if the controllers will is this controller already come with the TV? This is also like a new release of a new TV, or is this just the controller?
It's up to us because we haven't built that yet. So
okay, that's great. Yeah.
Whatever you think, it's better.
Yeah. So I think that let's imagine in a world where the parents of the kids of this like old person bought a controller for them because it could benefit, they could make their life better. So they receive this product in a package. The first thing is that I would like this controller to have a very big, prominent voice assistance button on the middle, because this is the main intention that we want to solve the problem with the inputs. And just some small interactions. The controller also it's also like shine on the dark, because then it's easier for you to find the controller if you're not like this is the remote. Okay, so this would be like a very simple remote controller. You unpack the remote controller, then you have like a very simple interface with just like power button, and just switch for like small arrows. Then you connect this controller with the TV using, normally controller uses like infrared, but if this controller we have like more different kind of inputs, then could also be nice for us to use something like Bluetooth to enhance even more the connectivity. So the TV recognizes your controller, and then you have some onboard stepping. First you have connection.
Will the TV be a Samsung TV, or what do you think?
This TV is a Samsung TV. If the connectivity of the Samsung TV it's already like recognize this controller, that would be great. Then we just need to update the firmware, or we just need to make an update on this TV. I don't know if all the versions of the TV will accept this kind of controller, of course, but yeah, this is something that you need to figure out before buying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so then the TV recognize that you have the controller when you open the controller, put the battery, and then the TV recognize, and then the TV shows you a small onboarding of how to use the TV, how to use the controller. Then the user will start talking. Something that I would like to see as well, like this kind of public, they could also benefit is like if the controller send them some specific like tasks. For example, would you like to watch something? Search for your desired news. Search for your desired content when you click the button. So this user clicks the button, and automatically the device speak to them and say like, yeah, talk, what do you want to watch, Then the TV also has a small microphone. What do you So this onboarding, this is connection, this is interacting. So then the user will then talk with the controller, tap the button of talking, and then we'll talk with the controller. Then we have the UI adaptation that we need to make on this screen, which is then we have some sort of results when you finish tapping. The thumbnails of the image is going to be very big because we need them to recognize this all the information from like far away, and also because they have some eyesight problems. So then you have a list of possible results. You can navigate inside of this list using the arrow button, or just also with the voice control. You could just like say down, up, and or select. Okay, I'm gonna use another. Are you following the solution?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you need more clarification, please just ask.
Okay.
And then let me think. Then in the end, you have then the results that you're looking for, which is the culinary program that they were looking for, watching on Netflix. Yeah. So then they finally found what they are looking for. This is the last interaction that the controller has on this specific task. Great. So this is just when they found already the program that you're looking for on Netflix. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my solution. I think let me just wrap up here everything. So
I have a question.
Sure.
That came to my mind right now. Will this remote control be only suitable for smart TVs?
Yes. Unfortunately, we don't have like ways for us to also to communicate with like some feature TVs, like more older TVs. So unfortunately, the connectivity with this is going to be more focused on TVs that has a UI, that has an operational system inside. Yeah, this is a limitation. But I don't see any other way here that we could communicate with a TV that doesn't have the UI.
Okay.
Okay. As a also launch strategy here, we could also other kind of audience that could also benefit is like more kids as well. It could help them to find the controller because sometimes they need some sort of guidance, and the controller could also be daunting. The other audience, more like the high-end user, they probably know very well how to deal. So this is maybe it's not the kind of strategy that we can use for them. So yeah, wrapping up everything, we have this remote controller that operates using voice and helps our audience to find the desired TV show that they want. Mostly we are using this because we imagine that they have some eyesight issues and also motor ability issues, and we saw an opportunity to solve this problem and provide them a good experience by creating this controller that operates by voice. One of the ways that I would like to measure the success of this, it's like comparing the task success rate, success time, while they use this controller compared to the old controller. Because if they are getting easier, or if they're like achieving more their goal by finding the TV show easier than on the previous controller, I think we are having a success on this product. So, but this is more related to the test. Would you like to add more like ways for us to validate if this was a success, or is there any like other indication that you would like to see? for us to measure?
Yeah, I'm wondering how would you go about comparing the two time spans there on the two controls?
Okay, let me think. Well, we would analyze how users are spending more, how many time users are spending time on the current um, UI by finding the control, by finding the uh, yeah, the content that what they want, and comparing to the new one. So this we could see like in the funnel if they're searching again, or if they're not, or if they found that search accurate. And this I would like to, yeah, by like non watching, we have like while they are really consuming and watching the content, or while they are researching, or just like figuring out. Then this is something that I would like to see, and the way to compare to the
Right.
new version. Yeah.
And
Okay.
which methods would you use to track this, to compare?
Uh-huh. I would use some analytics inside of the current the existing operational systems on the TV, existent on the TV, the Samsung TV. Most of them would be maybe Android OS already. Otherwise, then we need to choose to search or make maybe do some analytics on the other products as well. Yeah, but I think I will draw on the analytics and try to identify this inside of the numbers. And also we could do some to define some edge case. We can also like trying to do some behavioral analysis if they are how they are using the controller on the like using, I don't know, Hotjar or so. Then we can have even more qualitative information.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that's it. I think by designing this controller controlled by voice without so many like touch inputs, we are gonna provide a better experience for this more affected audience, which are old people that are at home. So I think this is the way that I would like to yeah uh, create a solution for this problem. How would you feel about that?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We still have 10 minutes. Can you walk us through just the UI again? Like, just
Sure.
show us what you have there.
Okay, absolutely. So soon as you receive your controller, then you have your very simple controller that also like the buttons also shine on the dark, that we can always find if we have problems of eyesight. Once you turn on this controller, we have a small button on the back that turn on the controller. Once you turn on this controller, the TV will recognize your controller, and then we'll give you some onboarding steps like first connection, just verify the connection, and then talk to the controller, and then then start using. When you start using the user gonna press this button. This button will connect this controller will be connected by Bluetooth to the TV. And once you press this button, the controller also has a microphone, so the controller will interact with this person, saying, what do you want to watch today? You know, motivating them also to talk with the controller, because I assume, this is an assumption, but I assume that this audience are not used to deal with voice assistants. So that's also something that we need to make them the right questions for them to talk with them.
Yeah, this is something that I was thinking, because in the beginning you mentioned this audience, the elderly audience, they are more like, they're not high-tech users. And then it seems to me that this whole solution is very like high-tech, like you need to have a smart TV, you need to know how to navigate and like install the product. So do you see any trade-offs there, any downsides of having elderly people having to use such a high-end like product and have to install it and everything?
Yes, this is a limitation. I think this is a constraint of the project because once we need to use smart TV, so we need to assume that at least this public has minimum amount of like uh, ability to deal with this smart TV already. So this is just like we are taking a smart TV and providing them even a better experience with the remote controller while they're using a smart TV. So this is a strategy focused on old people that are already dealing with smart TV, but they're struggling too much with this. So
Okay.
this is my approach. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, that's great. I think we
Okay.
can wrap up now
Okay. Yeah.
the
Great.
mock interview.
Great. So
Okay.
that was my thanks,
That was
Andrea.
a really good one. I really liked that one.
Really?
I really liked it. I think you have way more positive things like feedback than negative, so which was great. I really liked it. I'm feeling more confident now. So, okay, let's start from the beginning. I think in the beginning, I don't want you to like mention all the stages from your process, but I feel like in the beginning, you could give a little bit of an overview, just like of 3 major steps, which is, yeah, so just to clarify a little bit, how I'm gonna explore this problem. The first thing that I would like to do is to understand a little bit more the problem space. Then we can spend more time designing, sketching out some opportunities, and then in the end we can talk about how we measure the success of it and implement this. So I think like would be like a good way to explain your overview, just so you don't jump right into it. But that's like to improve it because it was really good. I really liked the fact that you asked for my input right in the beginning. Like it felt like you were trying to bring me to the process, so this was good as well. It wasn't just you brainstorming, you were like asking for collaboration, so that was nice. Then right in the beginning you started to explore the use cases, so again, really good, really like that. And then you mentioned the high-end users, the kids, and then so you started to mention your audience based on their behavior and attitudes, which is great. It's not only demographics, characteristics. So that's a very positive thing. And then after that, you justified why you chose the audience that you chose. So again, good. You mentioned the pros and cons, so that's perfect. Really good, really good. A lot of good points there.
Nice.
I got a little bit confused because you mentioned the high-end users, and you mentioned like that was a good opportunity there, right? But then you switched. You said you would pick up the elderly people. So I didn't understand why. But then after that, you mentioned why you chose the elderly. But I felt like in the beginning, you were kind of like, yeah, I chose this one, but then I'm going to switch, which is fine. But I was just a little bit like confused, but that's fine. As long as you mention the pros and cons of each, like make sure there is intentionality behind your decision. That's good. And then I really liked, I even quoted that you said, let's make some assumptions. That was pretty cool as well. And then you started to dive into after that, yeah. And then you started to dive into your audience needs, attitudes, behaviors, and everything. So that was pretty good. Now, one thing that I guess this is it for the first part, which was understanding the problem space, right? So for that part of your exercise, I think that was good. So again, everything pros and cons, you were always mentioning why. The only thing that I would get better at is right in the beginning, this was a pretty broad challenge that I gave to you. It would be nice if you could have framed the goal better right in the beginning, because I mentioned, I tried to be very vague. So I said, so we are trying to there's too many buttons in the current remote control. We might look at like improving the user experience, but it's up to you. Everything was up to you. So whenever you have this responsibility, like it's on you to choose the challenge. Whenever the challenge is very vague, make sure you frame the goal, and then you pick up on one KPI. So how would you measure that goal as well? So let's say something that you could have said is, okay, so just to clarify, whatever our opportunity is, we are looking at improving the user experience by increasing the frequency of usage and increasing the user engagement. So those are the KPIs that we're looking at right now. Like, how can we create a better user experience and improve the engagement with our audience with a remote control? And then one way that we might track that is by looking at the frequency of usage. But again, this is just the high level overview. Let's jump into the opportunities, and that might change. The metrics might change in the way. Like you could frame like that.
That's great, yeah.
And then, yeah, so that's it. Okay, so yeah, all right. So now digging into the design exploration part. I really liked how you picked up on a user flow to start with. So you mentioned you were starting with the onboarding experience. So you said, okay, now let me think about the onboarding experience for that. So it's nice when you already have like a user flow, so you don't get lost, because the product could go like either multiple ways, because you have so many user journeys. But it's nice that you picked up on one and then focused on that one. And then after that, you started to map out the jobs to be done, which is like the user tasks, right? Like the main features that each screen will have. So this is like all good, like all following the main like user journey and exploration patterns. And then yeah. And then you explore the user journey, reflect. So one thing that I liked is how your user journey, the one that you picked up, it reflect the user needs. Because one of the things you're saying, you gave an example of a user need, and then the customer journey was about it. So I could see exactly how your product would solve that problem, like within the same user journey. So that was pretty clever. It was really nice.
Nice.
Because you mentioned like they can't, I don't know, find a cooking show, something like that, and then you explore the user journey from that perspective. So that was nice. And then in the end, I liked how you summed up everything. Like in the end, like giving an overview of what it did, and always making sure like I was part of it, asking for everything. Anyway, it was pretty good, like the collaboration side of it. Now, the downsides that I noticed was, one thing you can improve, like whenever you're talking about the user needs, try to mention how do you know that information. So whenever you say, yeah, so this audience, those people, they do this like that, they feel like this like that, maybe you can mention like, yeah, so I have like elderly people in my family, or I have experience with that audience somehow, or I did a voluntary work or something, or for example, as I see a lot on Facebook and social media, or just try to bring like the source of that knowledge, because in the real world we dig deep for that information somewhere, right? So it's not like an assumption. You need to like look at the data. So if you can bring the source of of your assumptions, that can be nice, because it's kind of like you bring the source of the data that you're working with. So that can be good. Also, I think you spend a lot of time like exploring the user needs, and I would just be more straightforward on that. I think like you can like list 3 or 4, like, yeah, this, and that. You don't need to be like ongoing on that, because I feel like you should explore more time in the design exploration, like in the drawings and in the user journey. Don't spend so much time in the first part of the process, which is the problem space. Try to focus more in the design exploration and the validation part of it. Now, one thing that I missed as well, since this is a physical product, and not even because of that, but especially because of that, I kind of missed a little bit of exploration around the market fit. You did mention, but it was like almost in the end, the fact that it might become an expensive product, and you mentioned a little bit of that, but I think you could, just to highlight a little bit more your knowledge in with market fit and everything. I think that would be nice if you could like explore a little bit of that. And again, how your audience would fit into that, because if they're elderly people, but can they afford, like you probably will have a high cost to build this device, right? Because it's a physical one. It's not like an app that it has a lower cost to implement. And on that note, I felt like you could have explored way more the constraints and trade-offs of your solution right when you were considering them. So whenever you chose your opportunity, and even before, like whenever you were like trying to choose one to go, I felt like you could have mentioned, or at least like framed this in a bit more clarifying way, like what are the constraints and what are the trade-offs? Because to be honest with you, I feel like your idea, it's not the best suitable for this audience. Because, for example, if you're talking about elderly people, they have a lot of problems with motions, and so they face a lot of problems to touch smaller buttons and with movements and gestures. So ergonomics is something you need to take in consideration. And in your solution, I saw that the buttons, they were very tiny and very close to each other. So to be realistic, I feel like you should explore more towards the ergonomic side of it. Maybe removing all those buttons and just make it all like voice control, or all like touch screen, I don't know, like gesture based. So I felt like you chose an audience which made sense, but then your idea, your solution in the real world, I didn't feel it matched. If you would have picked the high-end ones, then it would make more sense,
I see.
But again, this is mainly about the opportunity itself, like the idea that you had. And I don't like to discourage people with their ideas, but I just felt like that. And then in the end, I also asked you like, yeah, but how do you feel? Don't you think that like, do you think this is a very high tech product for this audience? So I was trying to give you some cues that I felt you had a lot of constraints there in your product to consider. So I feel like you could acknowledge that. And also, you started to mention your metrics. And I felt, so again, you only picked up one metric, which was the completion rate for the task, for like finding the time spent trying to find something. But again, I felt it was a little bit off, because the way that I framed the challenge was, how would you rethink the remote control experience, right? So we have a lot of remote controls out there, not only for smart TVs. And there's no way we could track right now, like what's currently out there, like how much time people spend that. Like we cannot plug in a chip or something. And then I asked you this, like, how are you planning to compare? Like, because, okay, for the new one, we can make it smart and have like something in the back end to track, but how can we compare to what we already have out there in the world? So, and then you kind of try to justify that somehow, but it wouldn't work in that way. So I felt that maybe what I'm trying to get here is, whenever we talk about validation, how would you validate this? It's not only about A/B testing. You can mention something like user research, or even like diary studies, user interviews, like other qualitative research methods. Because if we already have something that is out there, like a problem that is out there. We cannot track them, right? Because it's not part of our company in that case. So the way that you would go about trying to compare how was the customer experience before and how is the customer experience after is probably doing a lot of user interviews, a lot of user research and things like that, and trying to understand a lot of those people. So I really, and this was pretty much like a crucial thing for me, because I felt like you went very good all the way, and I kind of had a lot of, you went so well that I created a lot of expectations, and then I was like, okay, let's see how it's going to be when it comes to the measurement part. And then in the measurement part, it became, you stayed very much in the surface. It was very like, yeah, like let's try to track the time spent, you know. So I would expect other ways to validate, with user research, qualitative data. And whenever you pick quantitative data, make sure you not only pick one. Like, of course, you can have your primary one. That's like the proper way, right? Because you need to have like a North Star, that like a metric that you want to see. But your metric, your metric can be a combination of other metrics, like the way that you measure. So it can be a combination of time spent with completion tasks, with, I don't know, like NPS score, with some other metrics. So I felt like maybe you could break it down and explore more. Maybe acquisition rates, like you didn't mention that. If we are launching a new product, can we look into acquisition rates? Can we look into retention? I think retention, if you're launching a product, retention rates and acquisitions, they are the primary ones to look at, because not only you want people to jump into your ecosystem, but also make sure they become active users. So all of that exploration, I felt like we missed a little bit, because you were focusing too much on one single metric. I feel like you need to open up a little bit and try to think about segments of KPIs, like of growth. Like, how would you explore that?
Yeah, makes sense.
Because, you know, there's like those the RR metrics, which is like acquisition, retention, revenue, all of that. So I feel like you can explore something like that.
Okay.
And yeah, I felt, I still feel like a little bit of lack of what would be my launch strategy? How would I validate this? I feel like you can wrap up with that, not only mentioning the metrics, but like, how would you validate this? So you can mention, so which is like long-term versus short-term goals. So maybe you would kick off this project, and then you can say, so let's say we start to work on this next week. So the first thing that I would do, I would have user research or interview a few of those people from the audience. I would try to get this and that out of that research, and then I would try to mock up a few prototypes, and then I would expect to see how would they go about this and that. I would try to track this and that, and then after that, maybe we can launch an MVP. Maybe we could, and then you just like create like a roadmap of like this strategy from the short term to the long term. And again, how would that be connected to our primary goal, which was increase the user experience? So I always mention that. But all of my considerations, like for you, they were very, I feel like they are what will help you like to stand out, because overall, I feel like you really did a great job, really good. But again, if you want to stand out a little bit more, then try to tackle more around that, like validation, market fit, and bring up a little bit of like data knowledge as well. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for all the feedbacks, and I think they really apply for this. And for sure, this part of validation, definitely I could spend more time. Thank you for mentioning.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.